Hi, this video will explain how to make a survey and collect data and then review that data. So as you can see, I am logged into my Baldwin email and I need to create a form. So I'm going to click on my grid and I'm going to go to Google Drive. And from here, I'm going to click on New, More, Google Forms. I now have an untitled form. I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to call it the ice cream survey. Click OK. I'm going to uncheck the require Baldwin School to log in to view this form because for this project you're going to be sending surveys to people outside the Baldwin School and we don't want to make people log in for that. So I've got my form title. It's showing up right here. And now you can see I have one untitled question in here, but this is not the question I want. I'm going to ask my question. So you type your question in right here where it says question title. If you feel like you need to give some sort of explanation, you can put the help text here, like choose only one or whatever kind of explanation you want, but a lot of people don't put anything here, so you can leave that blank. The question type, you can choose different things. For this project, multiple choice is going to be most useful. You might have the possibility where you're allowing your respondents to choose more than one thing. If you're doing that, you want to make a checkbox. But these two things, multiple choice or checkbox, will allow you to keep track of your data. It'll store it for you automatically in a spreadsheet, which I'll show you in a second. And you'll be able to make some cool, it'll actually automatically generate some cool charts and graphs for you. So I'm going to keep this at multiple choice. Actually, I'm going to change my question a little bit, so you can always edit your question. And I'm just going to say, what kind of ice cream is your favorite? And we'll put a few. You're going to put your options in here. So I'm going to put chocolate, vanilla, and you'll notice that as I add another one, it's adding another option. If I don't put anything here, you'll just have two options. Strawberry, I'm just going to put a couple. I'm going to put my favorite, mint chocolate chip. Okay, so the advanced settings you're not really going to need. You can shuffle your options, but you don't really need it. And then we're going to click Done, and then that's your question. That's what it's going to look like. So obviously we want more than one question, so we're going to add another item, and that's all you have to do. And you'll notice that it says multiple choice again, which is what this one was. And I'm going to put in what kind of toppings do you like? And in this case, I'm going to make check boxes, which will allow people to choose more than one. So I'm going to put sprinkles and marshmallows and nuts. I know we're a nut-free school, but some people do like them. And I kind of like chocolate syrup. Put that on there. And I'm going to add maybe caramel sauce, and maybe hot fudge. Okay, so this will allow people to choose more than one. Okay, so I'm going to click Done for that one. Great. Okay, now I'm going to add one more item just so we can demonstrate, have some good data here. When do you like to So we're going to give a few options here. Anytime, summer, let's see, only in summer, spring and summer when it's warm, and we're going to put winter and fall and winter. So this is just, you know, some possible answers. You can, if you want, allow people to write in other. I don't recommend that for collecting data because then you get a bunch of different responses and then it's really hard to keep track of. So I'm going to click done right now. I'm going to uncheck the show the link to submit another response because we actually only want them to submit a response once. So I'm going to uncheck that, and we don't need to check any of these other things. So you'll see there are two buttons here to send the form. So I'm going to click on the send form. So there's a link to share this. So you can do things like put this, you just copy it, Control C. You can paste that into an email. But actually you can email straight from here, which I'm going to show you in a second. You can, you know, put that on a web page. Mr. Lieberman could put this up in Haiku. There are lots of things that you could do with it. So I'm actually going to send this form to, I'm not going to send it to Mrs. Powell. I'm going to send it to my daughter Stephanie, who goes to Baldwin, and I'm going to send her a message. You can do this. But you don't have to. So if you have this checked, it will include the form in the email, which is kind of nice, and they don't have to click a link. So I'm going to go ahead and send that to Stephanie, and then we'll see what kind of responses we get. While I'm waiting for responses to my form, I'm going to show you a couple of other things. So here is a link to view the live form, and if I click on that, I can see what it's going to look like to the people who are answering my form. So this looks very nice. I could test it out. I'm not going to because I don't want to mess up my data. I'm going to close that. Once we get the responses, we'll be able to review our responses, and there's two places where you can do that, and I'll show you that in just a second. Now that we have some responses, we can see the data that we have. So I have 19 responses, and there are a couple of different ways we can view the data. The easiest thing to do is to click on Responses, and then click on Summary of Responses. And what happens is a new page opens up, and it shows you how many people answered each question in a certain way. So at the top here, this is the kind of ice cream. So we have a nice little pie chart here. Shows us the number of people that answered each one this way. And we can see the percentages over here, which are represented, of course, by the pie chart. Down here, because we had check boxes instead of a single option, they show you the number of people who chose each one in a bar chart. And it shows you of the total responses, and then it adds up to more than, we have 19 responses, and this would add up to more than 19 because you can choose more than one. So there's our bar chart, and you can see the percentages there. And then down here is another pie chart, which shows how many people like to eat ice cream at different times. Most people will eat it any time. So there you go. So now this is just cool to look at, and you can use it to help you analyze your data. So you can say, well, this is interesting. You know, I would have thought that vanilla or chocolate, which are sort of standard ice cream flavors, would have been one of the more popular responses, but instead it was actually mint chocolate chip, which is my personal favorite, and I'm surprised to see so many other people like it. So that's kind of cool. So you can look at these charts and it gives you just a little bit more information about the way that the people answered the questions. And the nice thing is it breaks it down into percentages for you already, or gives you a visual way of comparing so that you can see at a glance how people responded. Now, if you're going to be writing a paper about this, which I think you are, you might want to include these charts and graphs in your paper. The easiest way to do this is you can right click on the image and click on Save Image As, and you can then save it. What I like to do is give it the name of the chart. So this is the flavors. So I'm going to call that flavors, and I'm going to save it. It's going to my downloads. It's helpful to see where you're saving it to so you know where to find it. And I'm going to save it. And it's down here, so I can click on it really quickly just to see what that looks like. So here it is. Now note that it doesn't save the title or any of the other stuff on the other side. So when you embed this image into a document, you'll want to add your title. And this gives you responses and not percentages. So what you could do is edit this image and add your percentages. So for example, mint chocolate chip is 37%. I'm just in Preview, which is a basic application that's on everybody's computers, and I'm going to go up to annotate, and I'm going to put text in here. And I've got a little text thing, and there's my little hand, so I can move it up here. And I'm going to double click to get rid of that default, and I'm going to put 37% right there. And I could change the color of this. I could make it black or white or something like that if I just highlight it and go, hang on, right here and make this, I could make it black, I guess that's an option. And now I'm gonna click, go back up to Tools, Annotate, Text, and chocolate is maybe 21%. Yeah, that's what it looks like. I'm gonna wait for my little hand, can't find it, there it is. Oop, hand, drag over, double click, 21%. So you do sometimes, to make it a little bit prettier once you get it into the document, is do that. I'm going to show you another way. So this is one way, and now I'll show you one more way to save all of your images. Actually, the next video will show you sort of a more complicated way to analyze your data. But this is probably enough for most of what you're going to do, and then you can do some simple editing. But if you want to do something more complicated, I'm going to put that in the other video.